And welcome back to This Week in Politics on KSFY. August 10th saw day number 3 of the Des Moines Register political soapbox at the Iowa State Fair. 9 presidential candidates making their arguments to fairgoers about why they are the best investment for their Iowa caucus vote in February. Washington State Governor Jay Inslee started the day promising to take action to stop mass shootings in America.
And we cannot let the Republicans get away by treating this as a public relations problem to do just a little bit on the edges. This is a public health crisis.
California Senator Kamala Harris took the stage, saying as president she would do more to help those who she says have been left behind by the American economy.
We're going to change the tax code as follows. For families that make less than $100,000 a year, they'll get up to a $6,000 tax credit that you could take home at up to $500 a month, which will make all the difference between those families getting through the end of the month or not.
When Ohio Congressman Tim Ryan took the stage at the political soapbox, one of the things he wanted to talk about was building America back up, literally.
We are going to start building things in the United States of America again. I can promise you that. Right now, who dominates that industry? China does. They dominate 50 to 60% of the electric vehicle market. We'll do the same thing around solar. We'll do the same thing around wind turbines and all the component parts.
Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar reminded the crowd she's the neighbor from next door to the north. And she told fairgoers she would reverse the trend of President Trump not keeping his promises.
He promised on Fox News that he was going to bring pharmaceutical prices down so low it would make your head spin. Well, it makes your head spin when over 2,000 of them have gone up in double digits, right? I keep my promises, and I've been taking on pharma since I got to Washington.
Former Pennsylvania Congressman Joe Seastack says as commander-in-chief he would focus on rebuilding what he says is America's damaged foreign policy.
Ultimately, our peace and our prosperity is convened with those we work together in the world to prevent having to go to war.
New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand underscored to Iowa voters that if they back her campaign, she is a candidate that can beat the president.
The answer is yes, I can beat Trump. It is not impossible. I'll tell you how. Because I always represent everyone. It doesn't matter who you are, where you live, or who you love. I have your back. I will represent your family as if you were my own.
Former Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper asked voters to back him by saying he would bring an end to the ongoing trade war with China.
The solution is not a tariff war. You ask any economist, there is no example in history of a tariff war that's ever worked. Neither side ever comes out any better. Both sides end up worse. And the bottom line is, tariff wars are for losers.
Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren says she has a plan to impose a 2-cent per dollar tax on those making over $50 million a year, and that she would use that money to make life better for American children.
Universal pre-K for every 3-year-old and 4-year-old in this country. Raise the wages for every child care worker and preschool teacher in America.
New Jersey Senator Cory Booker reminded this Iowa crowd that his ancestors lived in Iowa in the 1800s and says under the president, America has lost some of its world standing.
We've got to not turn against each other, but turn towards each other. To do that, we've got to get rid of leaders that try to demean and degrade and pit Americans against each other. It is time to have leaders that speak to that revival of civic grace, to speak to our common values.
When we come back on This Week in Politics, Bernie Sanders takes the stage, as does William Weld, the only Republican so far to challenge Donald Trump for the Republican Party presidential nomination.